Hello everyone. Welcome to another video of this weekly series Indian IPO Pulse. In this video, I'll share the details of all the major developments of last week in the mainboard IPO space of the Indian share market. So let's get started. Before moving on, please read the entire disclaimer carefully. This video is for educational purpose only. There is no buy, hold or sell recommendation anywhere in this video. So we are going to look at the 6 points. First is we are going to check the mainboard IPOs for the next week. Next, we'll see the last week IPOs listing and the performance. Then we'll move on to the top 10 gainers and losers of the year as well as of the last week. Then we'll see the DRHP filed last week. So, which all companies have filed their DRHPs with SEBI last week. Then we'll see the mainboard IPOs dashboard. And finally, we'll see the list of companies or IPOs for which the anchor lock-in is ending next week. We'll also see the performance of those IPOs for which the anchor lock-in ended last week. Okay, so let's get started with the first point, which is the mainboard IPOs for next week. So for next week, there are three IPOs which will be open for subscription. First one is Studs, for which the subscription is already open last week and the subscription is still going on. Same is the case with Lenskart. The subscription has already started last week and it's still going on. And for Grow, the subscription will open next week. So let's go into the details of each one of them. So for Studs, the subscription opened on Thursday, 30th of October, and it will close on Monday, 3rd of November. The tentative listing date is Friday, 7th of November. The IPO is 100% offer for sale. The IPO size is around 455 crore odd rupees. Uh, the quota for QIB is 50%, for NII is 15%, and for retail, the quota is 35% in this IPO. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, which is the Lens card. So for Lenskart IPO, the subscription opened on Friday, 31st of October, and it will close on Tuesday, 4th of November. The tentative listing date is Monday, 10th of November. Okay. The total size of the IPO is 7,278 odd crore rupees, of which 29.5% is fresh issue, which is 2,150 crore, whereas 70.46% is OFS, which comes around 5,128 odd crore rupees. There's an employee discount of 19 rupees as well in Lenskart IPO. As far as the quota goes, QIB quota is 74.84%, NII quota is 14.97%, and the retail quota is 9.98%. The employee quota is 0.22% in this IPO. Okay, there are a lot of stories about how uh, expensive this IPO is. The valuations are at very high level, but it's up to the promoter to decide. Anyways, let's move on to the third IPO of the next week, which is the Grow one. Now, the Grow IPO will open for subscription on Tuesday, 4th of November, and the IPO subscription will end on Friday, 7th of November. So, Wednesday, 5th of November is the markets will be off on that day. The tentative listing date is Wednesday, 12th of November for this IPO. The IPO is fresh capital come offer for sale. The total size of the IPO is 6,632 odd crore rupees, from which around 16%, that is around 1,060 crore is fresh issue, whereas 84% is OFS, 5,572 odd crore rupees. If we check the quota, QIB quota is 75%, retail quota is 10%, and NII quota is 15% in this IPO. Okay, now let's move on to the graph for the last week IPOs listing. And there was no IPO listed last week, so this graph is empty. So it's quite something that there was no IPO which was listed last week, the main board IPO I'm talking about. Let's move on to the top 10 gainers of 2025. Now this graph shows the top 10 gainer IPOs of 2025. This Orange bar shows the listing day gain or losses. So basically, the uh, percentage variation from the issue price at the end of the listing day. And this gray bar shows the current gain and losses. And at the bottom is the IP or the company name. So if you see Aditya Infotech, it was listed at 60.39. At the moment, it is trading at 95.86% above the issue price. Ether Energy listed in at a discount, but at the moment it is a premium of 115.44%. Rise 8.23, currently trading at 67.56%. Quality Power listed at a discount, currently trading at 139.31%. Stallion India still at the top, with which was listed at 40% and now it's trading at 204.83% above the issue price. Okay, let's move on to the top 10 losers of 2025. Now, this graph shows the top 10 losers. Again, you have to read the graph at exactly the same way as we have read the last one. Glottis Limited, it was listed minus 35.12. It is currently trading at minus 42.25% of the issue price. BMW Ventures minus 28.9, currently at minus 33.48. Gem Aromatics minus 1.83 listed, currently trading at minus 31.22. And Om Freight Forwarders listed at minus 33.45, currently trading at minus 32.74%. Okay, now let's move on to the top 10 gainers of last week IPOs. So those IPOs which are listed in 2025, the main board IPOs. So which are the top 10 gainers in last week itself? So this graph shows the last week gainers. BMW Ventures, although it is overall performing very bad, but in the last week it has given 8.8% returns. Euro Pratik sales 11%, FabTech 11.18%, iValue 9.68%, Shanti Gold the best one with 19.23% returns, Shriji Shipping very good returns of 12.63%. Okay, now let's see the top 10 losers of last week. So this is just for last week. Okay, so this graph shows the top 10 losers of last week. Advanced Agro Life minus 7.82, Canara Robeco Asset Management minus 6, Jin Kushal Industries minus 9.15, Quadrant Future Tech minus 11.17, and Stallion, the best performer of 2025, has given minus 15% return in the last week. So that is why this graph is very important, the last week graph. Let's move on to the list of DRHPs which were filed with SEBI in last week. So two big companies, Misho and Boat, they both have basically filed for the DRHP. Basically, they are the updated DRHP. Misho, the DRHP mentions fresh issue as well as OFS. They have mentioned the fresh issue size, which is 4,250 crores, but there is no mention of the amount for the OFS. Some reports are saying it would be around 1,250 odd crores. So the overall size of the IPO would be around 6.5, 7,000 crore. But we have to wait whenever they file their RHP. Next one is the Imagine Marketing Limited, which is basically the boat. Again, it is fresh issue plus OFS, 500 crore fresh issue and 1,000 crores of OFS. Total size of the IPO whenever it comes would be 1,500 crores as per the DRHP. Okay. Now let's move on to the next point, which is the main board IPOs dashboard of 2025. So there was no listing in the last week, hence the total still remains at 86. October is tied with August as the month with highest number of main board IPOs listing in 2025 with 18. Okay, now let's move on to the last part of this video, which is the uh, list of the IPOs for which the lock-in was ended last week, and we'll see their returns of the last week as well on that particular day when the anchor lock-in ended, and we'll see the list of IPOs for which the anchor lock-in is ending next week. So first, we'll see the list of IPOs for which the anchor lock-in ended last week, and this is their performance on that particular day when the lock-in ended. For GNG Electronics, uh, it gave negative return of 1.12. For IndiCube, it gave positive returns of 0.65. Solar World Energy, negative return minus 3.54. Anand Rathi, minus 1.48. Shisha Sai, minus 0.65. Atlanta Electricals, minus 6%. Ganesh Consumer, minus 1.8%. Jaru, minus 5.95, almost minus 6%. Brigade gave good returns, 1.94% on the positive side. Shanti Gold minus 0.29%. Aditya Infotech positive 0.47. Lakshmi India minus 0.81. EPAC Prefab Technologies gave very good returns on that day on which the anchor lock-in ended with 6.66%. And Jan Resource Recycling gave negative returns of 1.88%. So majority of the IPOs for which the anchor lock-in ended gave negative returns with couple of exceptions. Now let's finally check out the list of IPOs for which the lock-in is ending next week. So for NSDL, today, 1st of November, that means on Monday, you can watch out for NSDL. Same is the case with M&B Engineering, Sri Lotus Developers, Glottis. For all these four, the anchor lock-in is ending today. That is on Saturday, 1st of November. So 3rd November would be a day to watch out for these four IPOs. Then Advance Agro on Monday, 4th of November, the anchor lock-in will end. Same is the case with Home Freight Forwarders. On 6th of November, Highway Infrastructure, WeWork as well. And finally, on 7th of November, Tata Capital anchor lock-in will end. Okay. So that is all from my side in this video. I hope that this information is useful for you. Thanks for watching it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye and happy investing.